So, I'm Diane Hudson. I'm a certified professional career coach and trainer, and I'm here in the city of Oxford, England, and behind us is Oxford High Street. Wonderful, gorgeous day. And I'm here with my colleague Martin Buckland, who is a specialist in executive resumes and executive career coaching, focusing on EMBAs. And so we're here just talking about career tips and career management tips and resume writing tips today. So Martin, if you would tell us, because you work so much with senior executives and C-suites and the MBA program,
right.
How do people who want to find an executive level C-suite job introduce themselves to executive recruiters?
That's a great, really open-ended question, because there are various ways of going about it. So there comes a stage in your career after about 15 to 18 years when you should get executive recruiters involved in your career. Now, how do you do that? That is tough. Some recruiters are willing to network and whatever, but generally they get so much work that they cannot network. It's just not feasible, and their time doesn't allow it. So how do you get on their database? You need to be on their database, and the key thing is, once you're on their database, you need to retain that relationship with them. So don't just drop it after you've got a job. So you can go in through most of their websites, the big six, the big global six, and the ones at the next level down, the tier twos, all have e-submission for your resume. So get your resume into their database, but also it's all about relationship building. So if you've got some colleague or some friend or acquaintance who's been involved with those recruiters and has got a relationship with them, get them to introduce you to those executive recruiters. And that's a foot in the door through the back way. And of course, I introduce my clients, just my clients, to executive recruiters, because I know many across the world. But they work hard. But so don't ever. The trick is, don't call them and expect to call back within 20 minutes or 20 hours or even 20 days. It doesn't happen that way. Their day is jam-packed, solid, filling their clients' projects. They don't work for the candidate, they work for the clients. Right. So you need to build that relationship. It can be very frustrating. I get that call, oh, why doesn't a recruiter return my call? Every time, every day almost. Well, I can tell you that they don't return that call because their time element is squished. They only have 8 to 12 hours in a day. They cannot return those calls. Mm-hmm. Good executive recruiter every day gets 50 unsolicited emails with an executive resume attached. Well, they can't give you all a call. So be patient and go in through other channels and have your LinkedIn profile. We're always coming back in all these videos to LinkedIn. Yeah. You have your LinkedIn profile fully complete, because the more complete you have it, the more Google that will get. So when an executive recruiter is searching for talent off his database, you will then be attracted to that executive recruiter. Mm-hmm.
And Martin, I would add to that I think it's very important that they recognize when there are 50 resumes a day being received by a recruiter, that resume better stand out. Because they're working, like you just said, they're working for the company. That's their client. They're not necessarily working for the job candidate. But when they find a resume that's a good match with the positions that they have open,
exactly,
they're going to make that match, and then that's the person that's going to get the phone call from the executive recruiter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to have an up-to-date resume, and they have to have an ATS, applicant tracking system, friendly resume too. So make sure they cover both bases, because that's very important. So an up-to-date resume, and when you update your resume, refresh it with that executive recruiter. So the recruiter might have a year-old resume. Well, you need to update it my philosophy, obviously I'm very biased as a resume writer, but you should update your resume every 4 to 5 months, even 6 months, and then you should send that new version to the executive recruiter, because he might, as we speak, might be looking for somebody with your talent. And as you're doing that right now, one of your stories could be that it's very important that he's interested in that, and that's what his client at the other end is looking for, that project or that star story, that situation, that success story, he's looking for people with that talent right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Martin, for those comments about executives working with executive recruiters. So it's just another important piece of the career management pie, if you will, that 100% circle. And so they want to make sure that they're using all the different pieces of the pie in order to put together a solid career management plan and use all those different avenues. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. That was really interesting because I like to share a lot about executive recruiters because they are an important element. But the bad thing that people think is an executive recruiter is always going to come to you with a job. Well, depending on the country, and I work globally, I work across the world, it depends on which percentile that executive recruiters hold of the 100% job wheel, as I call it. So in Canada, which I'm very familiar with, it's 13%. In the US, it's 14%. Here where we are in the UK, it's a little bit more. It's about 15%. So it's about the lower to mid-teens. They hold that job. So don't put all your eggs in one basket and think that an executive recruiter is going to get you a job, because invariably they won't.